This raising a child thing.
Teething is not for the weak. That's the conclusion I have come to. Poor thing.
This baby has brought us such joy, such pure, and I mean pure is the only word that suits it here, pure happiness, unconditional love. But of course, she's a baby.
And also exhaustion.
She's very demanding.
No. How dare you?
And
how dare you talk about her like that? How dare you?
It's the nature.
Your granddaughter is perfect.
It's not her fault.
Your granddaughter is perfect.
It's just her nature.
She is perfect. I am perfect. No, it is. It's man. It is when people talk. It's like it's the great. Can I say something weird that people keep saying when I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired, and they're like, it'll be worth it though. You want to go? Well, yeah, that's why I had the kid. It's a very strange thing. People say it as if you've forgotten.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, but remember, it's all worth it.
Let's
I'm like,
be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. This is not complaining.
No.
Or to use the more colorful Yiddish expression, kvetching.
No, it is kvetching. It is kvetching. But it's definitely kvetching. But no, we just tired.
So it comes with the territory.
Yeah, but it's all right. But yeah, I find that funny the way people keep saying it. Oh, but it's all worth it. Yeah, I know. I love my kid. I'm excited about him. I'm just a little bit sleepy. That's all. Just slightly sleep deprived as I wipe. This I keep finding. So something that Daisy does when she's tired is she does this a bunch, and I find that I'm doing that more when I'm tired. Now as I'm going, yeah, we're learning from each other.
There's something about the passive nature of television that I find fascinating.
Yeah.
Last night, your mother had a dinner date out.
Yes, she did.
And so I was sitting in the kitchen, picking at some food.
As you do, yes.
And turned on the TV. And my go-to channel to turn on is Turner Classic Movies.
Yes.
If there's something that I hate, I turn to something else. Or something that I don't want to see, like in the middle.
Yeah.
But they were showing Bad Day at Black Rock, a film I know pretty well, but haven't seen in a while. And so I just sat and watched. And then,
which is the one I walked in on?
Probably that one.
Is that the army, the war one?
No.
What did I walk in on?
Ha! You walked in on Fighter Squadron, which I mistook for Eagle
Fighter
Squadron, which was too long a story. Anyway, a very corny, jingoistic World War II movie.
That is what I walked in on.
But then came Bad Day at Black Rock. And then, a half hour or more into that, Alice came home and she said, well, let's go upstairs. Let's go to the bedroom, and watch it together. And now we've both seen this movie.
Yes.
And we have other things that we could and should and want to be watching.
No, I don't do that though.
But instead we stayed and watched it to the end because it was there.
Yeah.
Now I could walk down the hall and pull out my Blu-ray or my DVD copy, but no, we watched it because it was there and because it's so damn good.
Yeah.
This is the film with Spencer Tracy.
Yes.
And a great, and Robert Ryan and great cast of character actors, Walter Brennan, young Lee Marvin, young Ernest Borgnine. And it's just terrific and very easy to watch again. Dean Jagger. Yes. Yes. See, already I'm rambling. Anyway. But that's the passive. That's the passive thing that I find so interesting about television.
Yeah.
That, if you don't feel like actively,
sit there.
But then Alice said to me, "Want to watch more of The Offer?" We started watching that 10-part miniseries, The Offer, about the making of The Godfather.
Yeah.
On Paramount Plus. A couple of weeks ago, I got an early screening link because I'm a member of the media, and we watched the first 2 episodes and enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
Thought they were fun, kind of cheesy, but fun. But then we drifted to other things.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last couple of days, several friends have said to me, "Hey, are you watching The Offer?" So last night we went back. Well, no, the night before last we went back. We watched 2 more Friday night and then 2 more last night. And stayed up later than we really wanted to, but it's very watchable.
That's the thing. Is it's funny that obviously a bunch of shows have just ended and a bunch of shows have just started. Josh texted me and asked if we'd started watching Obi-Wan Kenobi yet. We've not. I don't even know if he will actually, but I will. My husband is going out of town tonight for a little over 2 weeks. And here's where the marriage really comes into question: is I'm supposed to wait to watch certain things with him.
Oh dear.
Now, sometimes I'll be honest, and he knows I lie a little bit. Sometimes I say, no, I haven't watched this yet. I absolutely did watch it because I couldn't wait anymore. And he's also, much like you, one of my mom's biggest complaints about my dad is he's not a binger. He's not a binge watcher. My mom and I are terrible for this. We can both watch 40 episodes or something in a row. So Scott's my husband's name. Scott will say, yeah, we'll watch
Hi,
one.
I'm Leonard Maltin.
There you go.
It's my daughter, Jessie.
Yes. Hi. You have a wife named Alice. I have a husband named Scott.
All true.
I have a daughter named Daisy. This is her grandpa. He's pretty great. So that's always the tricky thing, is having to wait for him to watch stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to hold off on everything because I really want to see some of the new stuff that's coming in.
Sure.
We watched, there's a show called Shoresy, which you'll never, ever see. That is a spinoff from Letterkenny. I don't know if you guys watch Letterkenny. It's absolutely ridiculous. My husband loves it, and there's a spinoff to that. So I got to sit through 5 episodes of that because that he can binge. That's bingeable. And we couldn't get HBO Max to work.
It worked for us for watching 2 new episodes of Hacks.
Well, lucky you, we couldn't get it to work so we could.
But
watch
we couldn't
Hacks.
get it to stay put.
I hate HBO Max so deeply.
For Julia.
Yeah,
which
I know.
We're very much enjoying.
Very, very frustrating.
But it just won't settle.
Yeah.
It takes an hour to watch a half-hour show on HBO Max.
Ken, I know you don't know this is a loaded question, but Ken just said, seeing the 45th anniversary screening of Smokey and the Bandit tonight, and wondering if you have any good Burt Reynolds stories.
Ah!
Oh, Ken. Oh, Ken.
Oh, Ken. Oh, Burt.
Oh, Burt. I went to school with his son. Let me tell you something. When Lonnie Anderson walks into the nurse's office, that I don't care how old you are, that'll throw you. She, by the way, could not have been nicer.
And remains so.
She could not have been nicer, and she was very much just like a mom. But Quentin, their son, who goes by Q, he and I were sitting in the nurse's office, and I remember her walking in, and there's like the regular moms at school who look like moms, and then there's Lonnie Anderson who walks in, and you just go, okay.
And then there was the Halloween when I was working our front door, and I opened that door to see a couple of kids accompanied by Lonnie Anderson as Catwoman. Okay.
I think a lot of kids learned what it meant to be a man that day. Yeah, so we have fun memories of Lonnie. Burt was a character, and I feel like that's the best way to describe him. You could get happy Burt, you could get angry Burt, you could get fun Burt, and you just didn't know. So I would say you've had all 3 of those experiences.
I have, not necessarily in that order.
No. And I've had most. I will say he's always been nice to me. I definitely, I did not incur any of the wrath that.
I wrote up all of this. It's a sneaky way of plugging my newest book, Starstruck. But I wrote up the totality of my relationship with Burt, which I sum up this way. In movie terms, if you've ever seen Charlie Chaplin's City Lights, and you should, if you haven't, but there's a running joke in the film that he is befriended by a millionaire when he's in his cups, as they say, when he's drunk late at night. But when he's sober the next morning, he has no recollection of Charlie the Little Tramp at all. And that's how I compare.
That's a pretty fair.
My dealings with Burt.
Yeah.
Is that you didn't know which Burt it was going to be.
Nope. So you had some fun experiences.
Yes.
You had some very not fun experiences.
Yes, that's true too.
As I say, it was a tricky thing. There are those people there are those actors, and he's definitely of that generation, where there's a number of them where you don't really know, James Caan, those sorts. You don't quite know what you're going to get. Uh, and I say that in the sense of these sort of these temperamental but very talented men who come from a time when you were allowed to be temperamental like that. Now
Yeah.
people get called out.
Yeah.
Now, if you behave like that, if you're a menace, it's reported on.
Yeah.
People blog. There are Reddit threads and all this kind of stuff. At a different time, people could be difficult, and it was sort of like, well, that's just
or temperamental.
yeah, and that's just so and so.
Yeah.
But now it's
Yeah.
it's kind of different. That's sort of how I look at it. Is there's a lot of them who could get away with
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
That definitely can't do that now. Who's the one that mommy knows that was married? Was married to him or dated him? Yeah, I know. Sorry. Many stories that some of them we can share and some of them we can't. You miss seeing Alice on the stream. Yes, my mom, she's just a busy lady. And we try to book her.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't have time for us, basically. So we're lucky that she even says hi. Were you were you ever confronted by an actor/director for giving a film a bomb or low rating in your guide?
Funny you should mention in the same, never mind.
Burt Reynolds. I'll tell you someone who got real mad at Leonard, but not in person. And that would be Steve Guttenberg. This is one of my favorite stories because it is so ridiculous. Basically, he was being interviewed for something else entirely. Steve Guttenberg was, and
he went off on a tear.
The guy was like, "What do you think about movies?"
And mind you, and I have no brief against Steve Guttenberg.
You'd never met, you'd never had a conversation in person. And what it is you'd referred to him as sort of like an everyman.
Yeah, I think so.
You'd said like he was an everyman, and he's good, and he's in a bunch of different stuff. Guttenberg went to town, and Guttenberg was like, I don't know why Leonard Maltin hates me. I don't know what I ever did to the man. And that's one of my favorites, just because I love the idea of Steve Guttenberg just like cursing the Maltin name. I find that amusing. There's some. You've gotten some letters. You've been sued. Stuff's happened.
Suing was not over opinions, though. Suing was questioning.
Oh no, I know that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to you not liking the movie not the Billy Gray one. Yeah, the guy who was on the shelf for a good reason. Someone sued him for saying in his review that the movie was put on the shelf for a few years and it was for a good reason. And then the director did not like that, and he said that because of my dad's review, the movie did not do well because he said it sat on the shelf. Anyway,
Henny Youngman made a comedy record years ago where he said this film was so bad that when they put it on the shelf, the movie on the shelf moved over.
That's fair, I think. Accurate, too.
I didn't tell it well, but
you tried, but I liked it. I liked it. I hadn't heard that one. It was funny. Are Jesse and Leonard members of the Lawrence Tibbett fan club?
Well, at least I know who Lawrence Tibbett was.
Not me. Were you a fan? Are you a fan? Is there a club that you could be a member of?
I have no idea. I had no idea.
Nick says, when will Tommy and the rest of the Mouseketeers be named Disney legends? Well, is Annette? Aren't most of them Disney legends?
I'm behind the curve there.
I don't remember who is and who isn't at this point, but I think Annette is, and I would think Frankie. No, not Frank. Sorry, that's a separate entity.
I don't know. I'm ignorant. I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess wrong.
No, I don't know. I know some of them are, but I don't know if all of them are. They should be. When will they be made legends? I gotta be. Sorry, I'm sorry. They'll be made legends when Disney decides.
Well, no. Here's the thing: is that there was a period when the relationship between the Mouseketeers as an entity and the Walt Disney Company as an entity were rocky because the Mouseketeers felt that they were entitled to royalties, residuals. Residuals. And so there was some.
Ryan says that Annette is the only of the core 9 Mouseketeers who is a legend.
Okay.
So there you go. Are Spin and Marty, are they legends? I don't know. To be honest with you, we don't really pay attention to the legends very much because at this point they kind of just choose whoever they feel like choosing. But yeah, I don't really know because to me, the reality is this: we all know who the legends are, right? We know who the legends are at Disney, and it doesn't require Disney to agree or to put an award in their hands that says you're a legend because they're legends. There are those folks, especially if you're a diehard Disney
And
person.
now
You know,
and just to clarify, I am of the generation, the baby boom generation, who actually went home from school every
yeah,
day,
yeah,
Monday to Friday,
yeah,
eagerly awaiting that day's episode of the Mickey Mouse Club. I didn't see them on the second run or a third run
yeah.
or on video or on the Disney Channel. I saw them when they were brand new. And boy, that was an incredible experience. Wonderful show.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that I always tell people that what you watch when you're a kid and the reaction you have
Hmm.
is something that you can't explain and is also
No,
something that you can't
you
manufacture.
can't recreate it.
So if I try to show you something today that I grew up with, you might like it, but it's not going to have that same, it's not going to hold the same place in your heart that it would if you grew up with it. And I think that sometimes that can be hard for people to understand
Yeah.
just because if you love something so much, you want to know why other people don't feel the same way. Uh, uh, it had to be, I caught them on Vault Disney late at night. Oh, dude, Vault Disney was brilliant.
Yeah.
First of all, the opening was brilliant. That opening that they did
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so good. It was so much fun and it incorporated so many different things. I loved that. And yeah, Vault Disney was brilliant. I'm so glad they did it, but I'm sorry that I miss it. You know, I think that that's frustrating. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, you guys. Sorry, you guys are having a conversation about ethnic minorities. I'm going to leave that one alone. Uh, you go to town. Have you seen Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future yet?
No, I have not. I have not. They're screening it now. It's about to play several major film festivals,
Yeah,
and Viggo Mortensen
yeah,
is in it. I mean, and they've collaborated very successfully
yeah,
several times now.
yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet.
There you go. We got to interview Viggo Mortensen when he did a film called Captain Fantastic,
Ah,
which is not a movie that should have been named Captain Fan. It needed a better name. Like it was a
yeah.
fun name if it was a different
It was a
movie.
misleading
Yeah.
name.
Uh,
It's an ironic name.
yeah.
When you see the movie, you understand the irony.
Yeah.
But when you have not yet seen the movie, the
Yeah. It's
irony
an
is
odd
lost.
name.
It's like, well, is this a kids movie? Is this a
Yeah.
superhero spoof? Or
But
none of those
but
things.
he's lovely and
Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen is lovely and he really cares about film. He loves books. He has his own publishing. I don't know if he still does, but he had his own publishing house.
Yes.
Which
Well,
I
he's
think
a
was really
poet.
cool. Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he's an artistic soul.
Yeah, he is. My favorite, he told us a story about how he and his son would go to the movies on the weekends together and they'd sit in the very front row and his son would lay on top of him. And that's how they'd watch movies when he was a little kid. And I just love, I love when you hear other people's sort of routines and memories and the things that you would do. Because we all have those, the thing that it's, yeah, that this is what I grow up with.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love
Yeah.
the idea of that.
Vigo also got up at 6 a.m. in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
When one of the semesters I was teaching on Zoom.
Yeah. Oh,
teaching
yeah.
a class on Zoom.
Yep.
In order to speak to my students.
Yeah.
At approximately 9 p.m.
Yeah. LA time.
LA time.
Yeah.
About the film that he premiered at Sundance just before the pandemic. And I mean, just before the pandemic.
Crazy. Oy. Twitter does not feel like functioning today. That is okay. We're going to keep going anyway. Listen, Twitter, I don't have time for your nonsense, okay? Hang on. Oh, yeah, it's not even letting us do that. Ken says the Walt Disney Treasure DVDs were the best. I'm glad you got to be a part of them. My dad actually wasn't just a part of them. He pretty much made them. They were his baby for a long time.
Well, first off, it was, I can say honestly that they were my idea.
Yep.
Other people executed them and very good and talented and dedicated people
Yep.
made them happen with my participation. But I pitched the idea to Dick Cook, who at the time was the head of the Walt Disney Company.
Dick Cook was he
And
was a wonderful man, and we miss him
wonderful
dearly.
man. We miss him.
He's alive. We just
Yeah.
are sad we don't get to work with him.
He said when I pitched the idea, this is something we ought to be doing.
Yeah.
Ought to be doing it. It's a phrase you don't hear a lot from people in power positions
Yeah.
in Hollywood. And but he did say things like that,
Yeah.
and he meant it.
He's just a lovely man and really cared very deeply about Disney. Still does.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a really good guy, and I wish that they would do that. Yeah, he says I wish they'd get their heads out of their butts and reissue them. Us too. I've had so many
Or
conversations.
they can
with
keep their heads where
folks.
they are,
Yeah.
but reissue them.
Yeah. Have you talked to Dick Cook anytime recently? I'd love to get his autograph if possible. It's been a while, though.
A friend just ran into
Two friends, Floyd Norman and his wife, just bumped into him. So it was nice to see a photo of them together because they're so good. A few folks are asking about Ray Liotta. Do you remember the voicemail?
No.
You don't remember the voicemail?
No.
You were trying to get him for class.
Yeah.
You don't remember this?
He eventually did come to
Yes,
class.
you were
Yeah.
trying to get him for class, and someone we knew was greetings from Australia. Hello, Australia.
Hi.
You were trying to get him for class, and somebody we knew was having dinner with him, and they said that they'd ask him. And I don't remember who it was anymore, but if that friend called and said, "Hey guys, I'm here at dinner with Ray Liotta," and he went, "Hello," in the background, and he said, "Yes, I know." He says he'd be happy to do the class anytime. You just let me know, Leonard, anytime, and I'll come down to class. We saved that voicemail for years because it just made us all smile.
Yes, it did.
It's been
It did.
I know it's a long time. Yeah, I've never forgotten it. Because there's certain things that are not normal, like it's Ray Liotta on the voicemail. That's not like a regular Tuesday.
He was very taken with our Frank Sinatra collection.
Yes.
In the lobby.
Yes. Well,
the auditorium I teach in, which is Norris Theater,
so yes,
has within its chambers
whatever you
Frank
want to call
Sinatra
it, yeah.
Hall, so named because Frank Sinatra's 3 grown children donated all his memorabilia to the school,
Mm-hmm.
to the School of Cinematic Arts. And we have window display cases in the lobby and a one very tall wall, like an atrium wall,
Yeah.
with all of his gold and platinum albums. We have letters from FDR with personal inscriptions
Yeah.
on them. FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, up through Ronald Reagan, probably Gerald Ford. His 2 Oscars, one for From Here to Eternity,
Yeah.
and one for that wonderful short, The House I Live In.
And there's that bronze head.
Oh, no, that's the sculpture.
Is that no? It's not his head in bronze. It's what else would it be?
Well, it's not. Never mind.
It's odd.
I love the sculpture.
Looks like gum or fuse. No, there's so much cool stuff. I will say something that's funny is if you lean on the glass, an alarm goes off. And a lot of times, specifically the publicists who have brought the guests down will be leaning on it, and all of a sudden you'll hear this da-da! And it's like, oh, hi, yeah, don't lean on Frank Sinatra. Please don't lean on Frank Sinatra. Thank you so much. Please don't lean on Frank Sinatra. Are you excited about the new Avatar movie?
I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
I want to be excited.
Yeah, right.
And I'm curious to see if it, is all that we have,
That
thought
we would
about,
hope.
anticipated.
Yeah, I think that's always tricky. Again, I don't, we say this to you guys. We don't tend to look that far ahead because we're trying to keep up with everything
Trying to keep
that's
up with
coming
what's
out
here now.
now.
Yeah.
And so I don't really think about what's in a few months. Obviously, a ton of our friends were just at Cannes, so it's fun to see what they liked. That's really cool. It's fun to see what they liked and what's out there. And so the James Ad
Oh,
Astra,
James
James
Gray.
Gray. It's nice to see that the folks enjoyed that movie because we're a fan of his. So fingers crossed, it's good. Though the running joke with Cannes, you have to understand, is if people love something out of Cannes, it tends to be terrible, and if they hate it, it might be good. Cannes is one of those places that's kind of made it's made its name for 10-minute standing ovations and booing. It gets a big reaction from people, so I'm never quite sure what to think when it does.
Impassioned. The
Sure.
audiences there are impassioned.
Yeah. Which is was it in Berlin that Alex said you could hear the seats? Someone that works with my dad talked about being at a film festival, and in one of the venues, because it had an echo, when people would get out of their seats to leave the film if they didn't like it, you'd hear this like, it's the sound of the seat snapping back together. And I'm imagining being someone who worked on the film and just around you echoing people leaving their seats.
Scroll back.
What do you up here?
There in the middle.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I saw a familiar name.
Was it Larry Smith?
No.
No.
I'll tell you in a minute. Sorry, folks. I won't. If I can't find it quickly, we'll just move on. That's the one.
Roy?
Uh-huh.
Roy B. Yokelson. I like your last name. Gold doubloons and pieces of 8 handed down from Applegate. The chest is here, but wait. Now where lies those gold doubloons and pieces of 8? Pieces of 8, pieces of 8.
Roy, you have an excellent memory. Roy, I met because he took my class at the New School. That's a long time ago.
That's a very long time ago.
in the 1970s. And at the time, Roy was the recording engineer who worked with Dick Hyman on all the scores for the Woody Allen movies, including Zelig, where they had to degrade the sound.
Yeah.
Just as Gordon Willis degraded the images by using old lenses, so it really looks like old newsreel film. Roy had to, what's the word? Degrade.
Yeah.
the sound, so it didn't sound as good as it could have. And they got May Questel.
He says, back in the day, yes, that's me.
That's right. He recorded May Questel, the voice of Betty Boop and Olive Oil, singing a newly written song made to sound like from the 1930s.
Very funny. Very, very funny. Can you recommend a good Jewish film festival? No.
There are a great many of them. Atlanta has a big one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And there's one, I think, about to start here. I made a personal appearance at the one in Cincinnati a couple of years ago. And they tend to be good because the word gets out and around.
Yeah.
Which films, are good candidates.
Yeah.
To show.
Daniel is saying Tampa Bay Jewish Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say no is because the truth is that any festival can be good. It just depends on who's running it at the time. It can be the tiniest. We joke here because I swear every street has a film festival in LA. It's Downtown Burbank Film Festival, Studio City West Film Festival. Really, the thing to do is to sort of just look and see where the festivals are and then take a look at sort of how they describe themselves. Also, what they charge. Because in my opinion, if a festival gets too expensive, that's a problem. Because you should be encouraging people to come to it. And once tickets get beyond a certain point, it's like, well, do you want people to see your movies or not? Because you got to make it good. Doug says there's a big Jewish film festival at the Jacob Burns Center in Westchester, New York.
Yes, which is a very significant.
They say they are the most profitable art house in the country.
Yep.
Entirely possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have great taste. Over the years, they've had great programmers. Friends of ours have worked there and put in time there, and count on that place to show the good movies.
So yeah, honestly, the best thing to do is sort of see what's happening around you and take a look. Because I say there's a lot of festivals that are small that are really good. Shannon's saying, how many film festivals will we be attending this summer? So the truth is that they're still things are still sort of picking up.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff is still sort of moved around.
And a lot of people are still hamstrung by audience reluctance to,
But also
to
just in
come
general,
together in
remember that
theaters
a number of the big
and to
festivals,
travel.
have people flying in from all over the world, and that can also be tricky.
Yeah.
But no, we don't really. I mean, we're going to do Comic-Con, which is not a film festival, but we're going to do Comic-Con.
attend
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have our panel, but yeah, we'll be at Comic-Con in July. But we don't really our film festivals don't pick up until we get to Telluride. And
which is Labor Day weekend.
Which, yeah, is September. And then hopefully Fantastic Fest. We'll see how all that stuff goes. But yeah, so not really any in the summer in particular. Nick, our resident cartoon lover, wants to know if you have a favorite Terry toon.
No.
Nick, you'll appreciate Jerry Beck was here yesterday, the day before, something like that. And Jerry was, we were talking about all sorts of stuff, but one of them being he's a huge fan. How about Jerry Beck's Cartoon Club at the New Beverly? Well, the thing is, most of what they show they've seen or they borrow from each other. So yeah, Jerry Beck was just here, and you two were puttering among your films and all that. And by film, I mean actual like film.
And stills and memorabilia.
Yeah.
Trying to find something in particular.
Yeah, they're very funny together.
Jerry came to my rescue. I misplaced some stuff, and he had a
fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put in some time.
But it's, oh man, they're so funny together. My dad and Jerry are so, because they've known each other for 50 years, probably.
Yeah.
About 50 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, they always make me laugh. And Jerry is very taken with my daughter, and it's a lot of fun to watch them together. I love seeing them together, especially because Jerry has known me since I was in my mom's stomach. So considering that the family dynamic continues, God, it's pretty great. Francis is asking, which movie have you watched most often?
I don't know.
Casablanca or Singing in the Rain. One of the one of the ones because they get shown the most. Like you presented a number of Buster Keatons, a number of Charlie Chaplin's, a number of Laurel and Hardy's, Harold Lloyd's. You've presented a lot of those kind of screenings. Yeah. So probably one of those. Mm-hmm. But again, something like Singing in the Rain.
But as Jesse often points out, we are not normal.
Yeah, we're not normal.
We're not normal. We're not a normal family. We don't watch movies as normal folks do. Normal folks get together and say, hey, you want to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark tonight? Okay. We don't ever do that.
Actually, someone was just asking me about Notorious coming up. My dad, for I don't even know how many years at this point, has been a part of Last Remaining Seats, which is a wonderful event that happens. As I said, it's been happening since I was a little kid. Yeah. And what they do is it's
the Los Angeles Conservancy.
Yes, the LA Conservancy.
Which is our historical society, for want of a better explanation. They fight the good fight to save historic neighborhoods, historic buildings, things like that.
Yeah.
And one of the ways they support their activities
is by getting people into the venues.
Is by getting Angelinos to go downtown to Broadway, where there's a run of great movie palaces
gorgeous old movie theaters.
Some of which are still operating, some of which are not.
Yep.
Some of which have been adapted.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is now an Apple store, but they respected the architecture and the sort of the outline of the building. It's the Tower Theater. Anyway, it's a very popular series. And these theaters hold as many as 2,200 seats. It's amazing to hear an audience respond, and that audience being 2,000 strong. It makes a big impression.
And to hear, the live music when there are live musicians there. Yeah. It's just a great, and some people dress up, You know, some people get all dressed up, which I love too. But this year, you are going to be presenting Notorious on June 18th, and you're going to be doing a book signing beforehand, which is
Mhm.
fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people are going to be there.
And that'll be at my favorite of the movie palaces downtown, the Los Angeles Theater,
Gorgeous.
which was the last one built. It opened in 1931 when the Depression was already on, uh, and it opened with Charlie Chaplin's City Lights.
I think it's the one that still has a crying room.
Yeah,
Yeah, it still has a crying room, which I love. And if you don't know what that is, it's frankly, it's one of the most technologically advanced things that people don't talk about. What used to happen if you had your baby with you is that you could take your baby,
which Jesse now especially appreciates.
which I have a baby that cries. You'd go to this room, and they would, using mirrors, essentially project it into the room.
No, that's for the restroom. That's
Yeah. No, but I know it's
essentially you get to watch and listen to the movie without disturbing anyone.
yeah,
else.
it's like behind glass. Walk over here with your babies and get out and don't make noise. But I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, Teresa says, I'm just about to embark on the Sydney Film Festival in Australia. It's always
Ah.
great. I would love to go to that. I would love that. That's honestly, my favorite thing in the world is traveling to different film festivals. We've had so many incredible adventures.
Yes, we have.
Around the world. And some terrible, some fantastic. But either way, an adventure. And man, yeah, God, we've been to some truly random places in some cases. I will tell you, we were at the Bologna Film Festival.
We're the Biografilm.
Yes. And the only problem with that is because my dad was on their jury. The only problem with that was that they were feeding us, which was lovely and the food was great, but at like dinner was at 9 or 10 at night.
Or 11.
You know, which again is very European, but it's a slight problem when someone's giving you pasta and bread and wine at that time of night, and then you have to go home and go to sleep. The food was amazing.
Yep.
And the hosts were amazing. But the old Jew contingency was like, it is 5:30, where's my dinner? I have had enough. But yeah, that was a really fun adventure. We enjoyed that. See any good documentaries lately? Boulevard, A Hollywood Story was good.
Thank you for the tip.
Have you seen any good docs?
I've
I've seen 2 bad ones, but
no, there are a couple that I'm about to watch.
Mm-hmm.
A new one about Jack Garfine called The Wild One, named for a film that he made many years ago. He was contemporary of Lee Strasberg and the post-World War II theater directors who had a big influence
Mm-hmm.
on the actors of that generation. And he's still here to tell the tale. Met him at Telluride a few years ago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on my agenda to see. But I can't remember what else.
Ken says New Orleans Jazz Fest doc.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Frank Marshall made that. Frank Marshall, well known. I don't give all of his credits because they're so
There's
numerous.
too many of them.
But Jack's father was Jack Marshall, who was a great jazz trumpeter and a pal of Jack Sheldon's.
If you want fun history, look into jazz. And the names alone, that's one of my favorite things. And LA still has some jazz, not as much as it could, but it's still got some good stuff, and it's still got some good venues to see live jazz, which we enjoy. One of the most underrated collections, in my opinion. Not enough people my age remember those films. Sorry. 1 second. I'm going to try to find the beginning of your question. Is it up here somewhere? I can't find it. Monsterpalooza is next weekend, which I forgot. And thank you for reminding me, Rhonda. I don't know if we're going to be able to go, but we can try. I wonder if Olivia's going to. Olivia will be there. Monsterpalooza is a blast. And if you're someone who enjoys Comic-Con type events, but not so crazy and busy and chaotic, Monsterpalooza is a lot of fun, and it's a lot more personal and quiet and small. It's sort of what the the Comic-Con that they do in LA is a lot smaller and also feels more doable. And the Comic-Con that they do called WonderCon, which is in Anaheim, that is also it's an easier con. Because the thing is, San Diego Comic-Con is gigantic, and if you are not familiar, it can just be very overwhelming because there's so many humans
Yeah.
crammed into one space.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of fun. A Baron says, "Hello from your old state of New Jersey." Hello,
Well, hello.
New Jersey. Do you know, the other day I looked up your street because I wanted to see if it all looked the same.
Yeah.
The area my dad grew up in, Teaneck, looks like what neighborhoods look like in movies when someone's in like Suburbia 101. And my dad lived on 77 Grayson Place.
Yep.
And it was just really pretty. Nondescript, like there's not anything, but it was just
Tree-lined
nice.
street, which meant that in the fall, leaves came off the branches, and you could crunch the leaves as you walked in the just off the curb, and that's one of my favorite activities.
Yep.
Leaf crunching.
But yeah, I looked just to see. It looks the same. It still looks the same, which makes me happy. It's nice. What were the 2 docs you disliked, Jesse? So Netflix has a lot of documentaries that they're really just like specials.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, of course.
We saw the first part of the George Carlin documentary on HBO and liked it very much. But we haven't gotten around to watching part 2.
Sure. No, I know you and all your pals seem to really like it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's hitting where you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched 2 docs on Netflix. As I say, a lot of them really aren't. They're just specials because they're short. One thing that I watched was about free diving people. A woman who swims underneath the ice for the longest period, and that was interesting, at least. But then I watched another one on homelessness in Los Angeles, and it was just sort of heavy-handed and just said nothing, which was kind of like, yeah, homelessness is terrible here. Now what? It was one of those docs that kind of went, this is really bad. It's like, all right, then what? Because that's always my issue with documentaries is, to me, a good doc, when it ends, should do one of 2 things. First of all, it should get you interested in the subject.
Right.
For me, if a doc's really good, I end up looking things up. I end up reading and wanting to learn more.
Right.
But also, it should be something that then makes you want other people to learn about it too, so you can discuss it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, engagement.
Yeah.
Is kind of the unspoken mandate now for documentaries. And
Yeah.
People get upset. My students get upset now if there isn't some invitation to get engaged.
Yeah.
And
and this is actually where Twitter can come in handy. You can search a hashtag, and I've done that before, where I watch something, even if it's a TV show, I watch something and I want someone to talk to about it. If nobody I know has seen it, I can go on there and I can go, okay, here's a bunch of other people talking about the thing I've just seen. But some of the docs I've watched recently are just sort of, life is terrible. Bye. You go, Roy says that he's still in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
And God bless you.
Yeah. This person says, sir, your episode on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast was gold. In turn, I started following your podcast and loving it. Well, thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you.
We appreciate it. The new episode with George Stevens is up, and I think you guys will enjoy it. He's a really interesting man. The week before that, we had Ron Perlman. Week before that, I can't remember anymore. It's all a blur.
I'm hearing nice feedback. I'm hearing very nice feedback about Ron Perlman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's really interesting. He's an interesting man, and I didn't know what to expect, and he absolutely, yeah. 2 of you at the same time were talking about the Staircase documentary, and by that, then the new mini series that they've done on HBO Plus with Colin Firth. The Staircase. So there's one that's like 2005 that there's one from around 2005 that was done by Canal Plus, which is a French network that does a lot of documentaries. And that was really interesting. Then there's the one that was more recent that Netflix had that to me went on for too long but was interesting. And now the Colin Firth reenactment. I don't know. It's not working for me. Was Mr. Maltin ever asked to host a Siskel and Ebert type show? Would he have enjoyed debating with another critic? And then Craig says he did a show called Hot Ticket. You did.
A mere 20 years ago.
Yep. You did a show called Hot Ticket. There were a couple of versions of it.
The original idea was
like
modeled after Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect, which is having a moderator, like Bill, and celebrity guests, celebrity panel. And his show, they discuss current issues and politics. The idea was to do the same thing, discussing new movies with celebrities. Except, how do you get celebrities to see a screening of a movie before it opens, all on schedule to do a weekly show? And then what air quotes here, what celebrity is going to say anything negative about
a director, a writer, another actor,
a fellow actor's picture, you know?
So it morphed a few times. And then you did with Gray on Reel's channel.
Yes.
You and Gray did a couple of, our friend Gray Drake.
So anyway, it wound up, Hot Ticket wound up being just me and Joyce Kull-Haywick, who's been an entertainment reporter in Boston, local television there for many, many years.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good give and take.
Yeah.
And then more recently on Reel's channel, I did something similar with Gray Drake.
Movie preview, a couple of different, they did specials for years.
Yeah.
And same kind of thing. They sort of just would discuss it. You know, you are, I always say I love Angry Leonard the best. I really enjoy Angry Leonard because I love when he hates something, because that just makes it much funnier. And you've done the panel, Rotten Tomatoes does a panel at a bunch of the different Comic-Cons called Your Opinion Sucks. And you've been on that a number of times. And I think the most interesting thing always is when someone loves a movie and someone else hates that movie, because the question is, why? Why did you have such a different reaction?
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, oh, I didn't love it. Oh yeah, I thought it was okay. But this is the best thing I've ever seen next to, this is horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. And you both saw the same movie.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in the same theater.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And
I discuss this with my class at USC every semester.
Yeah.
Because we have about 300 students who are all seeing the same movie in the same setting at the same time.
Yep.
And yet have divergent opinions.
Yep.
And I make the point that just because you hated it and you loved it doesn't mean you're right or you're wrong.
Yep.
It's, you know, so many things influence a judgment call on a movie.
Hunter has 3 questions.
3.
All right, so we're gonna go through them quickly. Are there any movies a bit off the beaten path you're excited for this summer? He's excited for Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I have talked a lot about Marcel the Shell. It was my favorite film last year. I cannot wait for everyone to see it. I think it is beautiful and brilliant, and a really special movie. So I'm excited about that. You?
We screened in my class a film called Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
Yeah, Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
Which I very much enjoyed. Starring and written and directed by a guy named Cooper Raiff, Raiff, and Dakota Johnson. And this is going to be on one of the streamers.
Yeah.
I think next month. And let's get in a plug for the one that we didn't want to talk about before it was available, Emergency.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit last week. It's now streaming online on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good one. Don't read anything about it. Just watch it. Then Hunter says, are there any actors or directors that you go out of your way to track down their work? Yeah.
Well, we mentioned James Gray before.
Yeah.
You know, he's not mentioned as often as some other, you know, auteurs might be. But I think he's one of the top writer/directors,
mm-hmm.
one of the top filmmakers of our generation.
Like, you love Jeff Nichols.
Yes, Jeff Nichols is another one.
there's a handful. I think we
Yeah.
all have those people, whether
Mhm.
it's actors or directors or writers or anybody, where you think, okay, even if I don't like this, it's going to be worth my time just
Yeah.
because it's great to watch them. Um, 1 second. Uh, Ryan is saying that he knows we have an event tonight and he wishes us best of luck.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. Yes, tonight we are going to, and we're going to be a part of something called Never Seen It. This fella Kyle Ayers does it. Basically, you have to write a sort of short script about a movie that you don't know anything about. So if I give you a title, so like Emergency, but you don't know anything about it, and you say, okay, in Emergency, there's a turtle that's trying to cross the road, and there's a car coming towards it, and no one knows what they're going to do, and people are yelling from the sides, and all. You make something up, and we're going to be the critics. But the main reason that we're doing this is because it's raising money for Vidiots, the Vidiots Foundation, which is wonderful. If you are a local to Southern California, you may know Vidiots. It's they support indie film in a very, very, very big way. Indie film makers, and it's sort of one of those things that a lot of filmmakers love Vidiots
Yeah.
because of
They were originally a video store.
yeah.
Video rental store that got a reputation around town as being, this is the place.
Yep.
If you want to find films that aren't on the top 10 most rented
Yep.
at Blockbuster, go to Vidiots.
And where the people working there love movies.
Yeah, and no movies.
And they bought a place that they've been restoring in Eagle Rock, and it's going to be fantastic when it's done. It's a movie theater. You'll be able to rent movies, all kinds of stuff. Do you have any thoughts about when Stanley Kramer went from social conscious filmmaking into the comedic, it's a mad, 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 mad world?
Well, he didn't stay there.
Mm.
He went and made Mad World, and then went back to
Social conscious.
back into his lane, you might say.
Mm.
And I am one of the minority. I'm in the minority. I'm not a fan of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I saw it when it was brand new on Broadway in New York City in its original run in Super Panavision 70. And I just thought it was, they worked too hard. Everyone was working too hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Do you have any film book recommendations to read this summer besides your own, which I haven't started but want to buy as soon as I can? Thank you, Christopher.
Well, what's available now? Truly, Madly, Deeply, Stephen Galloway's new book about the somewhat, I was going to say tragic, but the romantic story of Laurence Olivier and Vivien Leigh, which started out as the great romance and then great sadness and even tragedy, fell over their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's very readable and very well researched and really, really good. I've been reading advanced copies of some books, so that
there's some stuff you can't talk about
but
yet.
I can't talk about yet. But there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Go to my website. Go to leonardmaltin.com. I recently posted reviews of like 5 or 6.
Yeah, he does book roundups, so you can do that.
So what my brain doesn't retain is already on the computer.
Jonathan says that no good Ethel Merman drives me crazy. She's so mean, loud, and aggressive. I will tell you, in this household, we love Ethel Merman, but everyone in that movie is mean, loud, aggressive, and obnoxious. So that's why I'm not a fan. Multiple people are agreeing they do not like that movie. So,
well, some of my best friends love it. So
I just no.
Just the way it goes.
No, he has not seen the new Downton Abbey movie. My mom watched all of the series. I've never seen it, and I don't think you have, except probably in passing when mommy's watching.
There'd be no point to me seeing this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd find it enjoyable.
Do you know what mommy said about it? What? She goes, "Why? We're done. Why do we need another movie?" So that's Alice Maltin's review. Why? Have you checked out the book Monsters in the Movies by John Landis?
That's not new.
John
but yes,
Landis.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't saying it was new. He was just saying, have you checked it out?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
anything John would do
Yeah.
in this field would be,
Yeah.
automatically worth
There too, you've known John for
reading.
how long?
A while.
A while. His son and I were in Hebrew school together, if that gives you any sense of things. Uh, uh, yeah, that's, let's see. Memorial Day at the movies. I revisited 1949's On the Town, which always makes me remember and appreciate both men and women in service, and how, sorry, I just got a text as I'm sitting here. It says, "Hi, this is Rabbi Yitzhak Summers, urging you to vote for Paul Kuretz for LA City Controller." Sorry, I keep getting, I don't know about you guys, but as we're about to have elections and I keep getting that. But I love that. "Hi, this is Rabbi Yitzhak Summers." Anyway, uh, uh, do you have any movies sort of that have to do with Memorial Day that recalls a precious memory, something like that?
Well,
I love the musical On the Town.
last night, TCM show Bad Day at Black Rock, which is about the aftermath, one facet of the aftermath of World War II
Mm-hmm.
that should never be forgotten. And I don't want to say more than that if you don't know the movie already. It's not a traditional war movie. This afternoon, they showed one of my favorite unsung war movies, Sam Fuller's The Steel Helmet, which is one of just a handful of films set during the Korean War. And it's really, really good. Uh, Anthony Mann's Men in War, also very, very good. John Ford made a beautiful film called They Were Expendable that came out at the end in 1945, at the end of the war when no one wanted to see
Mm-hmm.
war movies anymore. And it's about the development of PT boats, and with John Wayne and Robert Montgomery. It's very good. It's got really memorable scenes.
Yeah. I'll say there are a number of films like Hurt Locker, Black Hawk Down, like that they have aged really well and they're still incredibly potent and upsetting. And I'm always amazed sort of how, yeah, oh yeah, Band of Brothers, yeah, you have all that sort of stuff. There's a lot that are really, really good. And I think it's sort of, I tend to sort of, I don't really think about watching a movie because of the time it is, if that makes sense. So just because it's Memorial Day, I don't
Right.
necessarily think.
Well,
of
yes.
watching
Well,
those
TCM
movies.
is programming, of course.
But then the programming kind of fills that in for you.
Yeah.
Just real quick, Swag Champion says, "I was glad to hear your stance on when you start eating your popcorn in the theater. I will not touch a kernel until that final directed by opening credit is over." If you're not careful, what will happen, because someone eats very fast in this family, very fast. As soon as he sits down, that popcorn's gone. So it's you have to get your own. Should you ever find yourself sitting next to Leonard Maltin in the movie theater, get your own popcorn. Just from me to you. Now you have two things to show
Larry
off.
Smith is naming all these great films.
Yeah.
The Big Parade. If you've never seen King Vidor's silent film, The Big Parade. If you've never seen All Quiet on the Western Front, you should not only watch it, the 1930 masterpiece about World War I, but you should watch the silent version that they adapted for theaters that hadn't yet wired for sound. It's a variation on the film that's very, very good. And he mentions Clint Eastwood's two movies, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Both excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a completely different note, you have two things to share before we go.
Now, we'll get back to a few more questions, but I just didn't want to let the time run out. We're doing a little show and tell. Last week we ran out of time. All right, so I collect,
everything. You collect everything.
I grew up in under the sway of Jerry Lewis, and Jerry believed in giving out.
I can clean these for you.
Yeah. Jerry believed in giving out crew gifts, and so some of these have survived. And like these cufflinks that he had made up with the caricatures of Dean, his partner Dean Martin. So Dean and Jerry, if you worked on a TV show or a movie with them, you might have been given those cufflinks. But then here is possibly the rarest Jerry Lewis collectible. This was sold to the public. This is not for the crew gift.
What color was it when you bought it?
This.
This.
It's Jerry Lewis's Harry
Hair.
This was a tie-in with his movie The Geisha Boy, which is all about a magic act that goes to the Far East. And
those eyes, those haunting, haunting eyes.
And I unfortunately, I didn't know of its existence until just a few years ago, or I would have asked Jerry about it because he answered my other questions.
Yeah.
About why he and Dean, and then he alone, endorsed something called Tuck Tape, like a Scotch tape. It's because the man who ran Tuck Tape suffered from muscular dystrophy, and it tied in with his lifelong commitment to that cause.
Interesting.
But this is,
what does this little guy say? Gun tweak and squeak.
Gund is one of the leading manufacturers of plush toys. So this must.
There's some. Okay, well, first of all, there's something crunchy inside there.
Yeah.
I think that there was something that made noise.
Okay.
I just pushed down and it crunched, so I stopped pushing down.
And you can look up Gund. It's very kind of like Stife, and it's not copyright 1958. Patty Enterprises. That was Jerry's wife.
There you go.
The mother of his sons.
Yeah. That is a creepy looking bunny. Yes, it is a creepy looking bunny. You're not wrong. But yeah, man, oh man. Some of these, the other person who I think gave out the best sort of his face gifts was Bob Hope. Bob Hope, he knew how to put his face on stuff. And what a face it was. No, he had such a distinct caricature
with the
ski
nose.
And yeah, and oh yeah, I wonder, do you still have everything that we saved? Do you have all the stuff?
Some.
Yeah, there was the paddle ball one. There,
kazoo.
The kazoo. The mask.
Yeah.
The mask that he did. Woof. No, see, it went away. See how there's nothing on that?
Yeah.
You can just let it go.
Okay.
Yeah, Twitter died. I don't know what happened, but Twitter died. Old Skinos. Yes, exactly. Well, my friends, it is 3:03, so we must say goodbye to you. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody, please stay safe. A few of you asked questions about what's going on in the world. This is escape, This is our escape, and we don't need to think about that stuff because it's all horrific.
Yeah. So, we like to think of this as a safe space.
It's an escape.
And not to be ignorant of what's going on in the world, and not to be uncaring.
No.
But we put it aside just for an hour.
So squish your kids. Take them, squish them, love them, tell everybody that you love them. It's never a bad time. But thank you. You never look lovelier than since you gave birth. Motherhood agrees with you. Thank you. I think it's the complete lack of sleep. It suits me. No. Hug your kids, hug your families, tell everyone you love them, and please be safe. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Be kind.